It's that time, draft week, and we have uncertainty starting at the top. At the moment, Georgia's Trayvon Walker is the betting favorite to go number 1 overall, as the Jaguars, according to General Manager Trent Baalke, are considering 4 prospects. Presumably those prospects, are Walker, Michigan's Aidan Hutchinson, Alabama's Evan Neal, and North Carolina State's Ike Ekwonu. Now, if you follow the work of our next guest, that would be lead draft analyst at Pro Football Focus, Mike Renner, you will know that as far as Mike is concerned, and welcome to the program, this shouldn't even be a discussion. This shouldn't even be up for debate in Jaguars draft room. In the Jaguars draft room. So, Mike, why would Jacksonville be making a mistake? No disrespect to Trayvon Walker or anybody else, but why would they be making a mistake passing on Aidan Hutchinson?
They need a W. Like they look at their draft history the past few years. They almost ruined Trevor Lawrence. They traded away a top 10 pick from 2 years ago in 2020 and C.J. Henderson. They just need a guy to come in who is good and good right now. And to me, there's no safer prospect, no higher floor prospect in this draft than Aidan Hutchinson. For PFF grading, the highest graded defender in all college football last year. He's a high-end athlete in his own right. It's like, don't overthink it. Yeah, he might not be the best guy 4 years down the line, but if you're Trent Baalke with Jaguars fans calling for your job right now, all off season, that has been the case. If Trayvon Walker comes in and looks like a project that he's been billed as and doesn't make much of an impact year 1, that's it. You're out the door. You're gone. And so, to me, you need to chalk up a W. You need to get a guy who's going to make an impact on your football field next year, and that's Aidan Hutchinson, plain and simple.
Okay. All right, I don't necessarily disagree, Mike. I'm just surprised. I look at your background. I see the ND behind you. I know you're a proud Notre Dame alum. And I look at your top 10 draft prospects, and I see Kyle Hamilton all the way down at 8. So I've heard he's a generational safety, all this stuff. Why is Hamilton, I mean, relatively, he's still a top 10 prospect. Why is he so low on your board?
Yeah, I have questions about, I guess, his versatility translating to the NFL. I think he is a fantastic safety prospect. Don't get me wrong. Number 8 on any draft board is still a high praise for any prospect. But I do have questions about if he can truly be the do-it-all weapon that he's been billed as a Derwin James is, as other safety prospects that have gone this highly in the draft kind of are. And the speed is a little bit of a question mark, too. He doesn't have the elite range that an Earl Thomas has, that the guys that you would draft that highly at the safety position have. So number 8 overall is no knock on him, but to me, his best role in the NFL will probably be more of a box sort of role where he's around the football, able to make plays in the run game, using that length. And again, it comes down to positional value. At PFF, we stack our board with that in mind because I think you almost have to when projecting guys to the NFL. You can't just take a center number 1 overall because you think he's the best player on your board. You have to say, certain positions are more valuable than others, get paid more than others. And so with Kyle Hamilton, if he is going to be a touch more limited in the NFL than he was in college, that might not be top 3 worthy type of guy.
I found it fascinating, going back to your top prospects at PFF, that you had Charles Cross as your number 1 rated tackle. Most people are Ike Ekwonu or Evan Neal when it comes to the offensive tackles in this class. What is it that distinguishes Charles Cross from his tackle competition?
Well, here at PFF, we covet pass protection first, the offensive tackle position. It is what makes you your money. It's what gets you that big second contract at the tackle position. You can be a great run blocker all you want, but if you can't block the Von Millers of the world, the Khalil Macks, the Joey Bosa's, you ain't going to get paid the big bucks. And so to me, Charles Cross, he has the skill set that you want in pass protection, more so than the other guys. I'm not going to trash the other guys. They're top 5 players on the PFF board as well. Yeah. But to me, Charles Cross, his feet, how he uses his hands, and the fact that he's played in an offense where he pass protected over 600 times last season at Mississippi State already in the SEC against guys like Will Anderson from Alabama, elite edge rushers, and already held his own. I feel comfortable about that guy translating to the NFL, whereas Ekwonu and Neal have questions about their pass protection, at least out the gate. Obviously have the traits to develop there in time. But to me, Cross is NFL ready and is a high-end run blocker in his own right. So to me, that's the guy that I'm going to trend towards just as a preference. But like I said, they're all top 5 players. You really can't go wrong with any of these guys.
You know what, Mike, another Another big debate is, in draft circles is how do you look at Derek Stingley Jr. versus Sauce Gardner? Stingley, great reputation, but some scouts say he hasn't played well in 2 years, and so you're just going off of a 2-year-old scouting report. Sauce Gardner never gave up a college touchdown. So, and they beat Notre Dame, not to rub it in. So, how do you see it? How do you see it playing out? Stingley versus Gardner, who's not your. Oh yeah, he's number 4, 2 and 4. What's the distinction?
Yeah, I was at that Notre Dame-Cincinnati game, and they didn't even try. They didn't even try to throw his way. And that's a lot of teams this past year. They learned their lesson after his first 2 years at Cincinnati. The differentiator, though, to me, and you're not wrong in saying that Sauce has been more consistent over his career. Stingley, you are going based off of a couple of years ago if you are basing your scouting report and saying that he's the better prospect. But to me, it's the versatility that Stingley brings to the table. He can play press, but he can also play off. In zone coverage over the course of his career, he allowed a 31% completion percentage in off-zone coverage. That is unheard of for a player, like I said, in zone coverage. That's just difficult. It trends more towards giving up more completions, but his ball skills, the way he attacks footballs is impeccable on his tape. Whereas Sauce Gardner, all he did at Cincinnati, over 80% of his defensive snaps over his career were in press man coverage at the line of scrimmage. And he's great at that. Do not get me wrong. But no NFL team in the anywhere you find, even the New England Patriots, the man heaviest team in the NFL, will not be lining you up 80% of your snaps in press man. And when he is not in press man, he is not quite the same cornerback. And now, obviously, he's going to probably go to a scheme where he is lined up and press a lot, but he does not have the same sort of talent, the same sort of hips, the same sort of fluidity in off coverage and ball skills that a Derek Stingley Jr. has, to where I'm going to go for the more versatile guy. But it's, again, 2 and 4 on the PFF draft board. You really can't go wrong with either. It's just, I think Stingley has a more all-around game to project to the NFL.
It wouldn't be a draft conversation if we didn't talk about the quarterback class. I think the highest rated quarterback, is it Willis at 30? Is he the highest rated quarterback on your big board? We just talked to another draft analyst at NBC Sports Edge who likened him to a right-handed Michael Vick and thought that his talent was generational, and actually thinks that the Lions should go Malik Willis at number 2 overall. I'm fascinated by the disparate evaluations. You know, so many people can be down on this class in general, or Malik Willis in particular, while others see upside that's too tantalizing to pass up. What do you not see when it comes to Malik Willis?
Well, so he's still QB1, but I don't see the accuracy that I would be willing to take at the number 2 overall. And a lot of people are going to make the Josh Allen comparison of, oh, Josh Allen wasn't particularly accurate and then figured it out. But there have been more Christian Hackenbergs, in my opinion, than Josh Allens that have figured it out. And Josh Allen was a unique case in that he was super young coming out, had barely focused on football out of high school, went to junior college, had this whole long route to the NFL and was only 21 years old when he was drafted, to where he was admittedly a raw prospect, whereas Malik Willis played at a high-end high school coming out. He was a highly rated recruit, goes to Auburn, and took a much longer route, to where he's had some of the best coaching and still has some inaccuracies on tape. But there are generational aspects to his game. He is one of the best runners that I've seen as a quarterback prospect, and probably the closest quarterback to a running back that I've seen in terms of physical build, ability. He broke more tackles than Kenneth Walker did last year, the Michigan State running back. So this guy is dynamic with the ball in his hands, has the strongest arm in this draft class, probably going to be a top 5 to 10 arm in the NFL just in terms of pure arm strength once he hits day one on an NFL roster. But it's the accuracy, it's some of the decision-making on tape, and it's the up and down play. If you go watch, Louisiana Lafayette tape from last year, he is just throwing the ball left and right to the other team. You watch another game, you watch like a Syracuse game, and all of a sudden he looks like a guy who should be the number 2 overall pick. That's the worry with me. I'm just going to trend on the side of conservatism at the quarterback position, because when you make a guy a top 5 pick, you're staking your reputation to a guy like that. And more often than not, unless they do boom, you're going to be left looking for a new job at the end of the day if that guy doesn't hit.
Now, I know at PFF you have your metrics, and those work very well. I'm just wondering, top 10, top 20, is there a prospect, and maybe the metrics don't come out to say, okay, this is a generational prospect, but it's still your favorite player. Do you have a favorite player in this draft among the top prospects, and if so, who is it and why?
Yeah, there's a few guys in this class. The one that I keep going back to that I just really believe in and really like his story, who I'm not sure where he ends up getting drafted, but it's Central Michigan offensive tackle Bernard Raymond. He is a guy who grew up in Austria, came to Michigan as a foreign exchange student in high school, played on the football team as a foreign exchange student, played well enough to get an offer from Central Michigan as a tight end. After high school, goes to the Austrian army. So he had to defer a year, goes now back to Central Michigan, starts his career off at tight end, 2 years at tight end, switches to offensive tackle, has gained 60 pounds in the past 2 years, and goes from an okayly graded tackle in 2020 to the second highest graded tackle in the country last year in college football. And yeah, it's a lower level of competition, but he played LSU, he played Missouri, dominated on tape in both those games. And he's, again, a weird prospect, almost 25 years old now, but tested out really athletically at the combine, some of the best athletic testing in this entire draft class. I just love the trajectory of this guy's career. Like I said, only 2 years of offensive tackle, and he's already playing that well. I just wonder what he's going to be in 2 more years with NFL weight training and NFL coaching, to where this guy could be, an elite offensive tackle in the NFL, but people just really don't know because of how odd his background is.
One of my favorite exercises, and Michael and I have done this together, Mike, is sometimes going to Pro Football Reference and just looking at the dudes that go in the second round. And not just at wide receiver, but like just second round picks. Like, damn, how does this dude go in the second round? The second round ain't late, but just, I guess, who's a player that the tape, you love the tape, but they got something, whether it's the workout, whether it's durability, whatever it might be, or it might just be a positional thing where, hey, people reach for another position in the first round. The quarterbacks may push them down, even though they're not ranked higher than this particular player. But who's a player that's a second round pick that we might look back on and be like, yeah, I always knew that dude was going to be really good. Just for whatever reason, he wasn't getting first round hype going in.
I think it's going to be George Pickens from Georgia. Truthfully, if he plays this last year, he's a top 10 to 15 pick.
He got an attitude. He pushed people around, right?
Yes, exactly. Like, he is physical. He's gotten kicked out for fighting in games. He blocks his butt off game after game. Like, the guy brings it every time he's on the football field, and brought it even when he came back from a torn ACL and truthfully was not healthy at the end of this past season, but made a big play in the national championship game nonetheless. He has the best hands in this draft class. He dropped 2 balls his entire collegiate career, has some incredible outside of his frame catches, can go up and get it. And again, he would have been higher had he not torn his ACL last April, only played probably fewer than 100 snaps this past season, but still comes out in this year's draft. It's going to fall to the second round, likely because of that. But the talent, I mean, you go back to his sophomore tape, freshman tape, it was as good a sophomore and freshman tape as exists in this receiver class, but we just didn't get to see the next step that a lot of guys were taking this past fall. So I think it was still there in him. I still think the talent's there. He's going to follow the second round and be a stud for someone.
It's crazy about our timing, man. Whether it's Stingley. Stingley was the best prospect in the country out there as his freshman year, arguably. You know what I mean? Best corner. And sometimes it's just timing, and the injuries knock a guy down. But we'll see what kind of pro career Pickens has. Appreciate you, Mike Renner from Pro Football Focus. Thanks so much, man. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Mike.
For sure, Pearls. Appreciate you having me on.
All right, man.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.